Hey everyone, you're looking live on tape from headquarters. That's right. Welcome to my home. It is a very special Thanksgiving Eve edition of Disney Uncensored. Tonight I'm going to bring you something very special to me. My mother-in-law is in town and she agreed to show us how to make her dumplings. For chicken and dumplings. Pretty impressive. It's one of those recipes that I'm not going to give you the cups, the ounces, the grams. It's more of a by the feel ingredient list. That being said, I'm going to turn it over to my wonderful mother-in-law Barbara, and she's going to make her chicken and dumplings. Right away, I'm excited. Let's get to it.
Hey there, my name is Barbara Nelson. I'm making homemade dumplings. My mother-in-law taught me how to make, and the key is getting them paper thin. I'm cooking them tomorrow, but I'm rolling them out today and I'm gonna freeze them. So all we gotta do in the morning is drop them in the chicken.
So can you talk a little bit about what goes into your dough?
It is 1 egg. Crack it into a 1 cup of 1 cup measuring cup, and then you fill up to the top with sweet milk.
With what?
Sweet milk. Milk.
And people that aren't from the South, what is sweet milk?
Milk.
It's like 2%.
Either one. 2% whole milk, it doesn't matter. 2%, it doesn't matter. And then you beat it up real good.
What are you doing over here?
I'm layering them so I can freeze them, and tomorrow they will be hard, and I can drop them into the hot boiling water. But I do them individually like this so they won't stick together.
You just have wax sheets of paper
Wax
separated.
paper, parchment paper, and you can layer them. I just get it to where they're not overlapping too much, and then I layer and I layer and till I get through rolling. But the key is, again, paper thin.
What makes that the key? Like, why is that the whole key of the operation?
They swell up anyway, but whenever you you drop them in one at a time, just drop them in to hot water, boiling water, boiling water, and then they don't stick together.
All right, so we're gonna watch you roll them out a little bit. So here's your dough, and that's literally just flour and milk.
And egg.
An egg, 1 egg.
And flour enough to make it hard. And I'm getting my parchment, this is parchment paper that I'm laying it out on. And I have sifted, even though it's brand new flour out of the bag, out of the package, I sifted it to where it's extra fine. There's no clumps. Oops. It's just kind of, it's...
Now, could you overwork the dough, or is it something like...
Not really. I mean, what you want to get it to where you can roll it, still roll it. You don't want it to stick to the paper underneath, and you don't want it to stick to your rolling pin. You just slowly start working it. My mama made dumplings, but she didn't roll them as thin as this. But my mother-in-law, everybody loved my mother-in-law's dumplings, where they were super, her key was paper thin. When you think they're thin enough, roll them some more. Before I flip it, I want to make sure that there's enough flour. You use abundance of flour. You see it's getting bigger. I'm bearing down a little bit, or pressing down. This is, you get flour everywhere on you. It's not,
It's not a clean recipe.
it's not, but it's worth it. But if I could,
So when I have these frozen dumplings tomorrow, how would I heat them, or how would I even cook them?
you want your water boiling. Rolling boil is what my mother-in-law would say. You want it to be boiling, so not so much that it's just constantly just turning. And as you put dumplings, drop them in one at a time, it's going to slow down the cooking process.
Lower the temperature of the water.
So you have to wait a minute till it catches back up. And you do that till you get them all in there. You can do this ahead of time and freeze them, or if you don't want to cook all of them, you can cook what you can put them in a Ziploc bag after the initial freezing. So you can always, I send them home to my daughters or my sons so that they can have them later. All they have to do is boil their chicken.
That is really thin.
But it's, see, it's wanting to stick a little bit. So I just will put the flour. Alright, it's about as thin as I can get it.
So just when you think it's thin, then go thinner.
Then I'm cutting them. I'll just take a knife. Ever how big, thick, thin you want it. They're thicker over here. I can feel it. You see the difference in that thickness and this thickness? Sometimes I take, after I've even cut them,
And re-roll. When they're not as thin as you.
Right. But see, if you have enough flour, they're not going to stick to your fingers. They're not sticking to my knife. They're not sticking to the parchment paper. They didn't stick to the rolling pin.
Well, the restaurant guy, wants to just take a pizza cutter and do
it. You can, but then, I don't know. I just always, you can take a butter knife. It doesn't have to be a real sharp knife. They're going to swell, so I'm just doing. Try not to let them roll up too much when I cut them.
So, looking here, you got a bunch of flour.
That's flour I pre-sifted or sifted and just have it there
just
on
to
hand.
Use as the.
And I'm gonna put it back in the bag what I don't use.
All right, so it's 1 pound of flour.
I don't know how much flour.
Well, that's.
I had a 5-pound bag. A little bag would do fine, would be plenty. But I couldn't find. I got the only bag they had at the grocery store.
1 egg.
1 cup of milk. Put it into 1 cup. Break the egg into 1 cup, measuring cup.
And you don't let it rest. There's no proofing or.
No.
Well, there's no yeast. There's no activators to it.
So what you're going to do is when you break the egg into the cup, measuring cup, 1 cup measuring cup. Then you add milk till it's to the top. And then you pour it into a bowl. I put it in this green bowl and then I beat it.
Until it's hard.
Until I mix it, whisk it, or use whatever you want to use, a fork. or a whisk. I slowly added flour as I was working in, and where I couldn't use the fork anymore or
So
the
you can
spoon.
basically just tell the consistency that you're looking for.
Right.
There's no
It's
measurement.
when you first get it in, you know it's going to be thin. You just
Right.
keep adding the milk, the flour till you get it thick, where you can't whisk it in.
What was that? Like you got mad about
Well, I'm
something?
trying to think of what word to
No,
use.
it's okay.
You just where you can't stir it anymore with a spoon, then you take your hand
And
you
work it.
you add more flour and work it till you get it to where it's in
You
the
form it
dough
into
ball.
a ball. It's just
It's
a
like a
ball
dough
and let
ball.
it. Do you let it rest at all?
No. And then what I do, I break it in half. So that you saw me break the first part. I had already cut that. I had cut those that when you started filming. I was cutting the first half.
Right.
You see, you're just trying it. If they touch, that's okay, because they'll break off in tomorrow. They'll break like paper, or they'll break like thin.
So we're freezing these tonight, but if you didn't freeze them,
You
like
just put
same
'em-
process,
You
boil
do
water.
this, and then you put them in. You're ready for the pot. You just go walk over there and just put them in the pot as the water is ready. I don't have to cover them. I'm gonna just set them in the freezer like this. It was not gonna hurt them to be out in the open air in the freezer. But I just do this ahead of time, if I have time, so that in the morning I'm not rushed, or before we eat I'm not rushed. And that's it. And then clean up your mess, and that's it.
That's where the wax paper comes in.
That's
Key.
in why the wax paper is so handy. Any kind of parchment paper that the dough or the flour won't stick to the paper, as well as like tin foil, you don't want that. But that's it. We'll move on to the next tomorrow. Hi, I'm Barbara Nelson. I live in a little town called Wing, Alabama, and there is such a wing as in a chicken wing, butterfly wing, or whatever, W-I-N-G. It's on the Florida-Alabama line, and anyway, keep the parts clean.
You gonna eat your cornbread?